Hello, family. My name is James Trice, and I'm the creator of a podcast called YANA, or You Are Not Alone. You Are Not Alone is a podcast for Black men. It is more than just a podcast. It's a lifeline and a brotherhood. We're here to create a supportive, judgment-free space where Black men can have real, open conversations about what truly matters to us, from family and relationships to community, sports, culture, politics, faith, sex, race, education, and the challenges of everyday life. We dive deep into it all. Whether you're looking for advice, motivation, prayer, or just the comfort of knowing you're not walking this journey alone. Yana is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard, because none of us are meant to do life alone. Look for new episodes weekly wherever you get your podcasts. And look for me on Instagram at jbtrice123. Welcome to Yana. Grace and peace, everyone. This is James Trice again. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Yana. You Are Not Alone, a space for Black men, for us to talk, to be heard, to be listened to, and to express ourselves about the issues that matter most to us in a judgment-free environment where we could talk uncensored. This is a space for Black men to realize that we do not walk this journey of life alone, because none of us are meant to do life alone. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of Yana, You Are Not Alone. Today's guest, we have a guy that I met probably about a year, 2 years ago. Guest, Raheem Simmons. So we're going to welcome him to the show today. Raheem, say a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, tell the audience what you want them to know about you. And we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for inviting me. This is going to be a great time. I love what you're doing. I love the mission, what you're after to empower brothers. Something that we're lacking. So again, Raheem Simmons. I'm the second born of 8 children. Was born in Norfolk, Virginia. I have 3 kids of my own. My son will be 19 soon. My oldest daughter will be 18 in December, on the 18th of her golden birthday, and then I have a 3-year-old running around calling all the shots. So which is crazy, right? 19 to 3, it's wild. So some days I wake up and wonder where my hair is going, because that girl drives me insane. But I work for a nonprofit that's really about impacting the people in the community, exposing kids and families to activities and sports that they're accustomed to. Because to me, it's all about vision and helping people see. You don't have to continue on this same cycle. There's other opportunities. We just got to explore them. So that's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love to do. And like I said, when you hit me and asked me to come on, there was no way I wasn't going to do this with you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming on. And so you had said something in your introduction about introducing the community to sports they're not accustomed to. Talk about that. What is that? Sports that, and which community are you referencing?
Absolutely. So when I was referencing community, you can look at it from different ways. You can look at it from the Black community. You can look at the community in North and South Minneapolis. And the sport that I'm referencing is tennis. Growing up right off 33rd and Nicollet, Minneapolis, and off 18th and Lake Street. If you think about tennis, you think that's just predominantly for all white men. We don't play tennis. The sports we play were football, basketball, and we boxed because you grew up fighting every day. So all of us were trying to train to be boxers, although we weren't going to the professional ranks. So just what we're doing is I was hired to come in and do some things. And when I saw when I think about it, playing basketball, playing football, at a certain age, brothers, all of us grew up at the park playing. Right, we get in the street, we're playing tackle football in the street or playing pigs, get in the side. But at a certain age, your body breaks down and you're no longer able to play that. And so then in our community, my family, primarily, there were high blood pressure, diabetes, and all types of, obesity, everything running rampant on both sides of my family. And I'm like, you know what? This is crazy. Right. And so when I looked, I'm like, I'm seeing these people 70, 80 years old still chasing tennis balls, and they look good. They walk and talk and having a great time. I'm like, why aren't we doing that? Why am I not connected to this some kind of way? So that pushed me to say, let's go into the spaces where everyone wants to go to the NFL, where everyone wants to go to the NBA, and the likelihood of someone making it out there is really low. But those same two sports, when you get about 25, 30, your body just can't play them anymore. So we want to figure out how to keep them active, keep their head and their brain sharp. So this is why I got involved with the organization I'm working with now, to just introduce that sport um, to that space, that community in which we don't really know anything about tennis.
That's interesting because when I think about tennis, and I can say this for a lot of black folk at this time, but I don't want to pretend to speak for every black person. Um, I know when I grew up, Arthur Ashe was the
Arthur
guy that
Ashe.
we looked to, right? But he
Yeah,
was the only black person I knew that was doing it. And
yeah,
now, just now when I get a little older, and some of the people who are younger than myself, Serena and Venus Williams, those are the names that come to mind. There's a
right,
few others that I can't think of right now that are
right.
that are doing tennis and have been successful. I mean, Arthur Ashe
Yeah,
was successful. Venus
yeah,
and Serena Williams were very, very successful. And
yeah.
it seems from looking at those examples and others that are successful that I can't even name right now,
Hmm.
that when we get into it, we are successful at doing it.
And
Um, Go ahead.
no, it's funny, right? Because again, um, I also coach high school sports in the cities, and everyone thinks they're going to Division 1 to play basketball or football. It doesn't happen, right? But a game of tennis, if you're an athlete and you're wanting to just be a little disciplined and take the training, there's so many dollars for scholarships and training available for the people that just get involved. They just don't go. And it's like, take an opportunity, take a chance, and you never know what's going to happen. We have a woman now that grew up in the program that I'm working for, started off, got all her lessons free, then went off to play Division 1 tennis at Howard University. So it's like, just
Wow.
bringing that to people, like, baseball, football. I'm sorry, baseball is another sport that people just don't play. It's not our sport. But I'm telling you, you're an athlete and you're willing to be coached. They open up doors that people just don't know that are available. So that's my job, my passion, is to really help people see that's another side to get to where you want to go. I always, when I worked in education, I used to tell my kids, um, if I wanted to send you to Florida, how would you get there? I gave you $5,000. Say I want you to get to Florida. You could spend the rest of the money. How would you get there? Everyone said they will fly. I fly first class. That's the answer every time. I'm like, think about the amount of money that you're losing. I never told you how long you're going to be in Florida. I didn't tell you what, I didn't tell you anything. I said, you just get to Florida, I give you $5,000. You can get a train, a bus, you can drive, you can get a plane ticket, you can do motorcycles, you can hitch, you can do whatever you want. The goal is to get to Florida. And I think what for us, most of us only see it one or two ways, the only way to be successful. And I'm saying there are so many other ways to get to the level of success that you want. You got to first define what that is, the value of that, which is the 5,000. You got to determine what the value is for yourself, and let's figure out the ways to get you there. Don't just follow
Mm.
one lane, because if you fall off and you don't make it in that way, you didn't quit. You just, most people quit, not realizing that's cool. You just got a flat tire, just change your tire, or you got off the wrong exit. That's cool. Just U-turn, go back and keep going. And that's really what people don't really see in today's time. That there's more ways to get to your place. You just got to figure out what that is for you and not compare yours to someone else. But and a lot of this stuff, man, you learn just in sport. Um, but you and I both know nowadays kids aren't even playing sport like they once did.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, most of us, we are on social media all the time, on our
Yeah,
phones, right? I think we could go in any restaurant and see a family. I know I'll go in the restaurant, see family. Everybody
yep,
is on their phone. Mom, dad,
yep,
kids,
yep,
they're on their phone. Nobody's talking to each other,
yep.
right? And we could talk about that in a few seconds. But I want to hone in on this tennis journey that you're on. What have you seen, and what are you seeing for the future of Black people in the sport of tennis, particularly young people that you are helping to train and get involved with the sport? What are you seeing?
Excellent question. So the organization I work with, we are in schools and parks throughout Minneapolis. the USTA, national, what they would like to see as an organization is to get 35 million players playing tennis by the year 2035. So what
Mm,
we're seeing is that once we're going to those spaces, whether it's a park, school, they come down to the facility in which we
mm,
work. Once they get
mm,
involved, they realize like, yo, this is fun, right?
mm,
Because you're being active, you're moving, you're competing, you're doing all the things that you would normally do in other sport, and you're having a good time at it. So what I'm saying is that once kids are involved and see it, man, they jump on. I mean, we have, so we
mm,
normally go into a school for 4 weeks. We act like the gym teachers for 4 weeks for our attendance residency there. And then all the kids are invited to come down to the tent, where base is, and they can do our programs on Saturdays free of charge. And what we're seeing, James, is that so many, and I'm gonna call a spade, but so many of the black families and kids, they're coming down there. We're seeing people come in Ubers, we're seeing them catch the bus because they're realizing the coaches that we hire, they go in there and it's like they push the kids, they have fun with them. Those families want to see those kids continue to grow. Then we sign those kids up for some of the other programming where scholarships are available. And they're like, we didn't even know any of this stuff even existed. And that's the
wow.
part that's important and powerful for us. We do the open streets, whether it's Nicollet, Broadway, wherever the case may be, and families are coming in, stopping at the tables, and we're laughing and talking to them, and they're like, "We didn't even know this was even out here, man." And that's the part that I love that we can do, but I also hate it because no one else was willing to go out there and do that before. Um,
Mm,
but I'm glad that we have that task. I have that task to go in there and just help people see things differently because you can learn a lot from sport that teach you about life. I mean, a lot of what I am and who I am, I learned from coaches when I was younger that inspired me to be who I am today.
right. What questions are the families or kids asking you when they come and say, "Okay, I want to learn this sport of tennis," because they come in there because they want to learn the
Yeah,
sport of tennis. I'm assuming. What are some of the questions that they're asking you about this, and
yeah, good
what are
question.
some of the interests you're seeing?
Yeah, a lot of them ask, are there other black kids playing? Are there other black coaches? Do we get scholarships? Are we able to go to school? So those questions that are the right questions are being asked once they come down and they really spend time with us. Because once you're able to explain to them how much money is being made and generated just in the game of tennis, people's eyes go like, "Wait, you're kidding me, right?" No, it's so much. Then opportunities are there. Um, and then a lot, going back, so they were like, once you get we go into your school, you come to our park, you come down to our facility for a free thing. A lot of them like, what's next? And I like that question. What's next? You can serve up, you can tell me you cooked all the meal and all the good stuff, but what's next? How do we enjoy it? We ate our food. What's the dessert, right? You always say that little spot in your belly for some dessert. And then we send them to all, different camps and organizations that we're connected to. So now they're imagination is really blown. They're like, yo, this could be real. And then once they have that experience, then we connect them to some of our leadership mentorship program, and the families are like, how do I get my kid? How are you willing to take others? And then for some of them, James, we hire them for our summer program.
Hmm.
So we work with you, you got in program, then we turn right back around, empower you to go teach the other people in your local community, at your local park. And then all of a sudden now you're building mentors, leaders, vision, people. It's like, I want to be like so-and-so because so-and-so was a football player, but he's coaching in tennis and he's doing this. And that's really what it's all about for us. That's why when I came in, this is what I said. If we're going to do this, we're going to take care of that kid all the way around, not just, hey, we can just go into your school, we did a job, and we're good. No, we're not doing that. We're going to go in
Hmm.
there, we're going to really invest in those people and those families because that's the biggest investment is into the next generation.
How many African American, how many black young people are you seeing on a regular basis, and what is the gender disparity? What is the gender makeup as far as the percentages of numbers, boys, girls? What are you seeing most?
I think that goes back. I mean, I think that's. Are we looking at that's coming to our facility for our free programming, or in the schools or the parks? Because I mean, they all could be similar because we're going into. I give you a couple schools that we're going to. If you want me to name a couple of schools that
Yeah,
we
go ahead. Hmm.
Um, right now we just left Sojourner Truth in North Minneapolis.
Hmm.
We're going to Loring School next week in North Minneapolis. We'll be at Hall, North Minneapolis in January, but the next couple of months in November, December, we'll be at Hale Elementary and Northrop Elementary in South Minneapolis. So we're really covering all our bases. We'll be at Risen Christ, which is a predominantly Latino school, Spanish speaking school, and then the parks where
And let's be clear with the audience. So the other schools that you mentioned, North Minneapolis, these schools are
are
predominantly
predominantly black,
black. Yes.
predominantly
Okay.
black. And then I'm sorry,
Yep.
I should say that my mistake. My
Yep.
apologies. And then the schools in the southwest side of Minneapolis are predominantly white.
Okay.
Hale, Northrop, and then we go into Risen Christ, which is probably 95% Latino. We're
Okay.
working on trying to get into Hennepin Schools, which is predominantly Somali. So we're trying to diversify ourselves to make sure that
Wow.
we're not leaving any.
It's
We do
wonderful.
things among academy after school. So we're not trying. I'm not trying to leave anyone or any community out. I want to present it, like I said in the opening. I want to give access to everyone that wants an opportunity to experience the sport. And again, the school rankings, I can get back to you the percentages of boys, girls
Okay.
for school, but it is what it is. I'm not sure what that percentage
Okay.
rolls out to be.
And who is most interested? Who are you seeing as of the cultural breakup or the racial
Yeah.
breakdown? Who are you seeing has the most interest in really pursuing tennis as a career?
What's going to blow you off, I mean, really surprise you, is the black boys.
Mm,
um, because we've hired, last year we had several black men going into the schools, and we still have black men going into schools. So again, the kids can see these guys were basketball players or football players. Now they're playing tennis, and so you could talk that language. Like, you're a defensive back. How are you doing your drop step? You're a shooter. Is your elbow tucked in? Are you following through? Right. You could talk the language that they know, but you can also then turn right back around and teach them some tennis concepts and let it vernacular, and they're like, yo, man, this is really cool. And those kids then want to come down and be a part of what we're doing because they see someone that looks like them that I can identify with. And in our, and especially as a black boy growing up, I didn't have anybody that represented me or looked like me in my household, right? So whenever I found a coach that looked like me that was going to invest in me, whenever he said it was going to go, I was going to do it. And that's really, really important, which is tough because we know in Minneapolis, and I'm sure you know this, in high school sports, that participation numbers are at an all-time low. It seems like, and teams are combining because they can't field a team. But a lot of that stems from elementary, middle school. You don't see a lot of people that look like a lot of coaches. By the time you get to that ninth grade, 12th grade year, you have someone being like expecting you, holding you accountable. You're not used to it. What do? You leave, or you go to another
okay.
school district that recruits you out of there. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of black boys, a lot of black mothers and fathers when they're there, bring their kids down and shake our hands like we really want to thank you because this kid's excited. So they're buying tennis rackets, and I'm telling families, don't buy any tennis rackets. We'll give you the ball. I'll order tennis rackets for you, and
That's
equipment that
wonderful.
you need because I rather you see it's not just for Raheem in our organization. We really want to make sure that we're helping unleash the potential on and off the court about that kid and what that kid wants. And if we need a tennis ball and a racket to open up that conversation, then that's what we're going to use to get there.
Mm,
I'm not trying to make them all tennis players. I don't want them all to go to Division 1 to play tennis. I want you to go with whatever makes you happy and satisfied. But if we can have you for a few weeks or a month or whatever to inspire you and to teach you something about perseverance and service and responsibility and teamwork, and you take a little piece of that with you when you go into middle school, high school, and your career, we've done our part. We've done our job.
so you're saying you teach more than just tennis. The sport is
Absolutely.
tennis, but you use the sport of tennis to teach them other life skills.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood of a black team? And let's concentrate on boys
Okay.
making it in the sport of tennis and being successful, being another Arthur Ashe. And I focus on black boys simply because this podcast is for black men,
Yes,
right?
sir.
and that's why I focus not to really minimize black girls because I still care about them, but
Absolutely.
I'm primarily concerned at this point for black boys. What are you seeing? Um, the likelihood of them making it um, in the sport of tennis and being
I mean,
successful,
I think
being the next
if
Arthur Ashe.
yeah, that's one in a billion. I think if we could find the black boys, young men that's going to be committed, that we can help understand commitment and diligence and responsibility at a young age, the likelihood of
That's
them
wonderful.
being very successful is high.
That's
In
wonderful.
my honest opinion, that's just me being around, high school coaching and sports. If I had to do it all over again, my son played softball and soccer at a young age. Then we gave him an opportunity to play some football and then basketball. And he wanted to play basketball. Then he's converted to football. I wish if I had to do it all over again, I would have started with tennis and soccer and swimming because you can
Wow.
do those for the rest of your life. And the other part is black men naturally, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong for this, but in my opinion, we're more athletic than any other race of men. So I think if you get involved with it and you have some diligence and you have some commitment, the likelihood of you doing it, you're already a couple steps ahead because you're more athletic in a lot of cases. Now you just got to be willing to be disciplined, challenged, and follow, and you then follow through on it. I think the likelihood is, of success and being great at it to the roof. I don't know the statistics on it, but every kid that I know, like I said, we've hired coaches that were basketball, football players, and within months, they were able to play tennis back and forth and have a real game going on within months. And these guys were
Wow.
in their mid to late 20s. Just imagine we get a 12, 13-year-old, 10-year-old that say by the time you're 15, it's over. It's over.
Right. You hear you say you've coached, and so you hear of coaches of athletes, right? Of famous athletes, athletes that have made it in
Mhm,
basketball, Michael Jordan, and you go so forth and so on. The Emmett Smiths and all of those folks who played
mhm,
sports, and you talk to their coaches in
mhm,
high school or at their local gym or recreation center, they saw the potential
mhm,
when they were kids.
mhm.
Do you see some potential? Are there some kids, particularly one or two or three, that you say, "Oh, this is the next Arthur Ashe," or this is even in? There's nothing wrong with comparing them and saying this is the next Serena Williams, but
Mhm,
in the
mhm,
male form.
mhm.
Are you seeing some of those?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we see it every summer, and I invite you and anyone in your audience want to come take some tours with me through our parks during the summertime. You see every park almost has a black kid that's like this naturally God blessed talent and athleticism, and they, within a week or two of just playing and understanding how to make it work, they take off with it. And it's just like, what the heck? And then with those kids, we then talk to the families like, we would love to get them involved in some of our programming. And the first thing they say, how much does it cost? And I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. We have some scholarship dollars available. All we need is for you to get there. And that's where we see a lot of drop off because transportation becomes an issue, daycare becomes an
Mm,
issue. And then because we aren't able to transport them, then we have that drop off. So um, that's always for kids out here with so much talent, natural ability that pick it up like that. But like I said, it's always those hurdles that, as an organization right now, we can't overcome. Um,
right.
but I
Wow.
think we have
So
some
their
things that we're,
parents. So many times their parents are not able to get them
yeah,
to the gym or get them to the site that they need to be
yeah,
at. Wow,
yeah,
that's sad. We're gonna be praying, man, that God would just bless you all with the resources you all need, that you all can provide transportation. That'd be
absolutely,
wonderful if that can
yeah,
happen.
and
Let
yeah,
me let me. I'm gonna go a different direction here. It's still connected, but what are you most concerned about as a black man? You see these kids on a regular basis, these black
yeah,
kids, black boys, even black girls.
yep,
As a black man who's
yep,
out there, right? And it's
yep.
good to see you out there, brother. I thank God for you.
Thank you.
What are you most concerned about concerning black
Um,
kids,
yeah, man.
particularly black
This is,
boys, particularly black
yep.
boys?
I'm glad you asked that question, and that hits hard, hits me right in my gut. We are lacking representation and image. As a black boy, I can come home from school, I could turn on the Cosby Show. That's a doctor. That's a black dude. That's a doctor. I can turn on the next episode. It's a black guy that has a nerd next door, but he's a cop in Family Matters. Then later on we could watch Martin. We could see all these people that look like us that are successful. We had Dr. Phil. He was a judge. We had all those different shows that we had growing up that we could see us doing something great. That we could like, yo, these guys can do it, man. What can we do? If the kids come home now, what are they watching? You said something earlier. They all have their phone in their hands. There's nothing that they can see of themselves. They'll be like, I can be like
Mm,
so. And people aren't coming in saying, let's go out there and help them out. When I was 17, there was a couple of guys that put their arms around me. Like, we see potential in you, and we're going to help you get there. Former Gopher basketball players and biggest mentors in my life, still to this day, had they not came there to do that, I don't know if I'm here. And I owe it to them
mm,
first to be like, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna go out here and make happen. Not only were they black men, they were fathers, they worked good jobs, they owned their own homes, they weren't out here
mhm,
looking crazy, they weren't going.
mhm,
And I'm like, I want to be that. How do I do
mhm,
that? And I watch and I ask questions and I seen it, and then I will go home and I will study. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn how to tie a tie. I'm trying to figure out how to
mhm,
crease my pants the right way. I'm trying to do that because somebody showed it to me. Right now, I think as a black young boy, I think they don't have that. They don't have that image. They don't have that church leader anymore that's really out here trying to inspire. We had Hospitality House. They were coming into the where
that's
we
right.
live.
I
It's like,
remember
y'all get your butts in this van, and we're going to
that.
be
Mhm,
here with you guys. I'm not sure what's going on with the communities like that anymore. So the park boards all had football coaches. You know what? They were all black men and who lived in the community that we were able to see at the little corner store buying their
mhm,
little, whether it's cigarettes or
right.
iced tea or honey buns. We saw them
Mhm.
in that space. We don't have that. I don't say we don't have it. I don't see it. So I think because of a lack of image and representation in a positive light, I think our kids are suffering.
So how do we find a solution? What is the solution? What do we need to do to see that happen again? Or what are some other solutions that you think are necessary?
I think it says iron sharpeneth iron, and one can take 1,000 a flight, two can take 10,000. I think it takes some strong, committed brothers to put their heads together and their egos aside. And so we're going to put, it's not about me versus you. It's about us taking back, our kids and our community with no excuse. The problem with a lot of black men, we make too many excuses. We have excuses why
Mhm,
we don't go get our health check taken care of. We have excuses why we can't do this, why we're not, working the job we want. We don't have a house. It's too many excuses. And I think it
mhm.
takes just a few of us to say, we're done with that excuse. And if we really care about these kids and these families and our next generation, we have to lock in and show up and be present and demonstrate to them, you could be us. You don't have to be, I work in a nonprofit organization. And with this person's, he owns his own food truck, but you know what? We're doing it. And like I said earlier, success looks different for everyone. But I think we have to stop playing the game. We don't do anything together. We do everything apart to compete with each other and then step on them and say, hey, I'm doing better. That means absolutely nothing because everybody else is doing that to us as well. We used to have this thing called Cross Colors, the clothing brand. Remember that? The clothing brand Cross Colors. It was
Oh, yes.
JW
Yes, I
Cross
do.
Colors.
I
And
remember
they
that,
used to say,
yes.
I'm only as strong as my brother. And the guy was big and all this good stuff. But he had a little guy, skinny dude, bending down and pick the big, strong dude up. Because it's not about who you think you are, it's about us unifying, becoming one. Um, there's a song that the brothers sang. It was a lot of the R&B singers back in the day. Tevin Campbell, Gerald Levert, all them dudes, Joe Usher, um, Black Men United. Remember that?
Oh, wow, yes, yes, yes.
So
I
think about it.
vaguely remember, I remember it, yes.
All those dudes were all successful artists, and they put their egos and things aside and said, "Let's get together for one theme song for us." That's what we need to do.
Okay. So the solution is us as black men putting our egos aside,
Yep,
understanding the future and what we need to do to, if we're true
yep,
leaders have vision for the future of our people,
yep,
saying this is the vision that I have, and
yeah,
we need to move that. Yeah.
yep.
Wow. What
Yep.
so what is your greatest hope moving forward for black men? As a black man, what is your greatest hope for us moving forward as black men?
I think just reclaiming who we are, right? I think what happened is that we study history. We've always been so strong and dominant and what people admire to be or want, jealous of. And we've lost sight of that. We don't know who we are. We don't know who we come from. We don't know where we come from. Um, but we want to preach that God is, we believe in God or we follow Jesus. None of that stuff makes sense because they knew who they were. They knew who, so they didn't question, they didn't doubt, they didn't have any. When people said all this other stuff, they like, whatever. I know who I am. We don't, a lot of us don't. And I
Yeah.
think we need to go back and learn who you are, but you got to learn your history. You got to be willing to read. You got to be willing to invest in yourself and your knowledge, and really stop the nonsense and the excuse making, um, and putting your egos out. Again, I believe that all of us should be students, and teachers, but we all want to teach. We all want to tell somebody. We all want to learn. So I think going back to the principles from the beginning. And I know this isn't a Christian conversation, but everything that, and I don't know if I can even say it, I should say it or not, but you know,
Say it.
God created everything and he didn't say he saw it was good. Then he brought it to Adam and said, now what do you want to call this stuff, Adam? And Adam said, I'm gonna call this dog. And then it became a dog. It started barking. And he said, I want to call this an eagle. And it became an eagle.
Yes.
He said to brothers, I created all this stuff for you to create something and do something with it. Do something. And here's the thing,
Yes.
we aren't doing anything. And he told Job, long up your, stand up to me like a man. Don't come, all sissy, not excuse my language, but coming up to me all soft. Stand up like a man and be who I created you to be, and then demand of me what you want and see I won't do it. That's what we're needing. So I think if the hope is that we'll get together and to say, hey, we're going to reclaim who we are without excuse, but we know iron sharpens iron, we need to lean on each other. I think once we get there, and we will get there again, we'll see change. We'll see things change, and our families and our kids, our communities will be changed. Um, I think that's the only way we can do it.
Yeah. Well, we need each other, man. The whole purpose of this podcast of Yana, You Are Not Alone, is based in the scripture out of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9 and 10 is two are better than one, for we both have a reward for our labor.
Yep.
And if one falls, he has the other to lift him up.
Yep.
But woe to him, pity on him. We feel sorry for those individuals. We grieve those individuals who are alone because when they fall, they have nobody to lift them up.
Yep.
Right? That's what the scripture says. Right? And I
Yep.
think you talked about it. Us as men, knowing who we are, and we have to realize first of all that we're sons of God.
Yep.
And we are His magnum opus. We are His most prized creation. And He
Yep.
did say, "Let us make man in our image. Let him have dominion.
Dominion over this. Yep.
Let him have dominion."
But we
And
lost sight
so,
of that.
right. And one thing that He didn't say when He said have dominion over the earth, He said over the beasts of the field, over the animals, and over all of those things. But one thing He did say have dominion over is what? He never said have dominion over other people.
Oh, not about people. Absolutely no.
Nope.
No.
He said over
Yep.
the earth, over the fish, over the
Everything
animals,
he
over the
created is that
birds,
now it's yours. Now
everything have
yep.
dominion. But
Yep.
he never said have dominion over each other. And I think
Yep.
we feel like we have to dominate or we have to rule over each other. And he said, no, no, no. We are
Yep.
interdependent on each other. Right.
Yep.
Last thing, we only got a few minutes here, man. Literally, I have two final questions for you. What final message would you leave for black men, black boys, who are listening, and black people, period, who are listening today to you? And what's a favorite quote or book or song that has inspired you?
One thing I would say is we have to invest in ourselves. And as black men, we need to, number one, get ourselves together, go to your doctor, get your checkups, learn what's happening, learn your family history. I was one that had to go learn, like I had high blood pressure, diabetes, all kind of substance abuses on both sides of my family. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't know it, but all that's a part of me. So I had to really become serious about taking care of my health, making sure I get everything leveled right. I mean, my A1C was crazy. Now it's at a 5.6. Blood pressure was off the chart. Now it's 14 over 71. So, it's really been understanding, like, in order for me to make an impact, I got to be here. Take care of your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, financial health. And the one song that really has inspired my life, brother, is by Bob Marley. It's called Concrete Jungle. He did a live version of that song in Santa Barbara in 1979.
Mm-hmm.
And that song, he says, "No sun will shine in my day to day." And it's just like he talks about how hard it is. And I just reflect on my own personal journey. It was, I shouldn't be here, but by God giving me the right people to help see things differently, I understand that song and I listen to that song quite often, and it brings tears to my eyes, man, because it's, you hear the passion in which he sings it, and then you think about where you are and where you're going. It changed my life. Um,
Wow.
so that Concrete Jungle, and then I guess a quote would be, "Winners never quit and quitters never win." Um, Never. And so that's it, man. And the last part is, like Michael Jackson said, like you're saying, you are not alone. And I'll be here with you, man. Though we may be far away, I'm here to stay with you,
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
but we do need each other.
We do. Thank you, man. I appreciate you coming on, and we have to have you come back again. I really would like you to come
Absolutely.
back. Will you be willing to come back again, man, at some
Come
point?
on, man. You already know. You asked me, I'm there. Come on, you know that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, everyone. Those of you who have tuned in to this episode of Yana, You Are Not Alone. Really appreciate you. Remember to go on to my YouTube page, Yana James Trice. Like, subscribe, follow, and share with others. There's a new episode of Yana on YouTube every Thursday. So you can see a new episode of Yana on YouTube every Thursday. And then a new episode you can listen on podcast stations, Apple and Spotify. You can go on and listen. And again, like, follow, and subscribe. And until next time, remember, we are never meant to do life alone. Grace and peace, everyone. See you next time.
YANA is here for you. This is your space to connect, grow, and be heard, because none of us are meant to do life alone.